Today I'm going to tell you the story of when an e-bike company sent me an insanely powerful e-bike to test. That company was Wired, and the bike was the Predator, a dual motor monster that's supposed to have a peak output in the range of 6,000 watts. And before you even ask, yes, Wired is going to make these available for sale in the US. I'll link it below. There's a limited amount of them, but we'll get to that part in a bit. Now this could be the most powerful production electric bicycle you can buy right now. And as you might expect, receiving an e-bike that has more than 8 times the legal limit in power output made me feel overjoyed. But even more excited than me was my wife. Not really, but after making sure my life insurance beneficiary was up to date, I set out to test the Predator. Now to put the Predator into perspective, your average e-bike has about 1,000 peak watts. Some of the really high performing ones might have 3,000, 3,500 watts. This bike is more than double that. And I realize that there's bikes out there that've got 5, 8, even 12,000 watts, but they're basically motorcycles. I'm talking about e-bikes that look like bicycles. That's a bicycle frame. The drivetrain on the Predator starts with a 60-volt battery system and dual battery packs. It's got a motor in each wheel. The front is a 1,000-watt EW motor that's fed by a 40-amp controller. The rear is a 1,500-watt Hentach motor, which is fed by a 50-amp controller. It's got a 3-way switch to select your drive mode, either front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, or face melt, aka dual motor. And in addition to these components, you've got double Crown Air forks, a 4-link rear suspension with an adjustable air shock, 4 piston hydraulic brakes with 203mm rotors, and what any respectable 2-wheel vehicle should have, a right-hand twist throttle. Now you might be wondering what something like this costs, and the answer is about $3,500. And if you use my code below, you can save yourself 50 bucks. But before you can decide if the Predator is a bike you're interested in, let me show you what this bike can do. The first test was to see what kind of wattage it's actually putting out. Could it hit 6,000 watts? All right, let's see what kind of power this Predator bike is working with. You guys can watch the watt meter. I'm gonna watch the road and focus on driving. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Holy cow. Wow. Wow. I mean, it was in the high 6,000s. I think I might have seen it flash to 7,000 watts. That's absolute craziness. Let's do another pull here. See where it tops out. Go. I'm not even giving it full throttle yet. Okay, there's full throttle. 60, I definitely saw 7,000. Wow. All right, let's just try from a rolling start here. Wow, definitely up into the 60, like 6,700. It's definitely really easy for this thing. Holy cow. All right, let's do one hit here with rear wheel only. Pretty tame at 3,500 watts. Do we switch on the fly to all-wheel? Oh yeah. Wow, the power kick in. It's crazy. Jeez, oh man. Some very, very impressive numbers from the Predator. How are these numbers even possible? Let me explain a little bit. A fully charged 60-volt battery is actually 67.2 volts. And then your controllers, you've got a 40 amp on the front, a 50 amp on the back, and the controllers can actually peak higher than what their max rating is. That 40 and the 50, that's their max rating. They can peak higher than that. So if each controller is peaking, let's say 5 amps higher than what its max rating is, there's 100 amps you've got, times the 67 from the battery, 6,700 watts. And it's not maintaining that wattage constantly. It's just kind of bumping off those really big numbers as the ceiling. But it's very, very easy to go well over 6,000 watts on this bike. With some pretty crazy power output numbers confirmed, next I want to see how that translated into hill climb power. Now I want to show you the hill climb power on this bike, but right here is the hill that I normally test on. And you can see, we're going to go up it slow here. It's a long winding pathway, walkway. And I like testing all the bikes in the same hill, that way they're all under the same conditions, but I don't think that I could physically wrestle this bike up this hill and keep it on the path. There's much slower bikes that I have trouble keeping on this path. There's no way I could go up this path with this bike. The power behind this throttle is astronomical. I don't even know how to put this into perspective for you. I don't live in a really hilly area. I don't have many hills, but I can't put this bike on this path. We're gonna go down the roadway. I'm gonna go down the road, which is right next to this, so you get a similar incline. All right, here we go. Here is the hill next to the pathway. It's a decent hill, and it's a 35-mile-an-hour roadway. So I'm just gonna let the Predator do the talking here. We'll ease into it so I don't get too much wheel spin. That's about quarter throttle, and then full throttle, there you go. Front tire still breaks loose. Now we're full on into the hill. And it's maintaining 40 up the hill. Oh my God. Wow. I mean, it's like it wasn't even there. Like it wasn't even there. It didn't skip a beat. Gosh, I wish I had a mountain near me to climb to show you, but I don't think there's a hill you could throw at this bike that it could not handle. All right, we're gonna wind our way down to the bottom of this hill. But I think for the longest time, the kind of king of power was the Grizzly, the Aerial Grizzly, which has, 52 volt batteries, 30 amp controllers. So you're probably getting maybe a peak of 3,500 watts out of that bike, fully charged. This has that in the rear wheel alone. This bike is literally double an Aerial Grizzly. All right, we are pointed uphill. I'm gonna hit it out of this neighborhood and just roll. Here we go. Oh my gosh, that was like half throttle. Okay, there's whole. Oh man. How is this doing 40 uphill? Wow. This is blowing my mind right now. The power in this thing is just, you can't describe it. I don't know how to describe it. With every hill officially flattened, next I want to test what I knew this bike was going to be phenomenal at, and that's acceleration. All right, let's do some accelerations. Not exactly sure the best way to get a good launch, but we're just going to pin the throttle first. 0 to 40. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. I mean, the wheel didn't stop spinning forever. 40. The speedometer can't even keep up. You got your wheels turning at different rates because you get such a long front wheel burnout. It's crazy. Crazy. All right, let's give it another try. This time I'm going to try to baby the throttle a little bit on takeoff. You see the burnout mark. Let's ease into it. 3, 2, 1, go. And you can't. You just can't ease into it. 40. Wow. I mean, this thing gives you a rolling burnout, even if you're going, I mean, look at this. Let's run it to, I'm gonna take it to 12, 13, 14. Let's do 15 and then hit the throttle. Burnout. Rolling burnout from 15 miles an hour. Here's from 10. That's just, oh, the acceleration. That is this thing's, that's the shining star of the Predator. The power and acceleration is just, this thing's a phenom. All right, let's do one more launch here. 0 to 40. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh man! 40. Wow. All right, we got to try one more thing. I want to do an acceleration 0 to 40 with the slow start setting turned up. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. All it did was delay the throttle. 40. I mean, it really didn't prevent any wheel spin at all. It delayed how long the throttle took to kick in. So that's not going to solve your wheel spin. Oh, but why would you want to? It's so much fun. Oh gosh. Now after the acceleration testing, I felt a little funny. I started to feel a little bit weird. I can just feel the power of this Predator bike. It's coursing through my blood, infecting me. So if you think the Predator bike would have the same effect on you, give this video a like or comment below. Now while the Predator was slowly infecting my body and altering my DNA, I decided it was time to test the top speed. All right, let's go for a top speed run here. See what the max speed is. We'll ease into it, and then you just can't not do a burnout. I mean, holy cow, up to 40 so fast. 43, 44. That's pretty solid, holy cow. I mean, if I tuck down, maybe I'd hit 45, but 43, 44, just holding, that might be like as fast as the motors can spin. We got to do another speed run. I want to do one up here where there's a little bit of a downhill and see, oh my God. Gosh, it gets there so fast. Holy cow. All right, we're going to try, see if we can crack 45 up here. Okay, this road's mostly flat and then a little bit of downhill. Ease into it. Okay, there we go. Finally hit full throttle. Holy cow. It goes to 40 like nothing. Well, there's 45 on the bike. Now we hit a little bit of downhill right here. .44, 45 seems to be where it tops out. 44, 45 miles an hour, that is very respectable for an e-bike. But I started to realize that top speed is not what this bike's all about. It's about the thrill of the acceleration. So, the power. Nice, peaceful, residential ride, and then full throttle. The front wheel just breaks loose. Jeez, oh man. I don't think I'm gonna have a front tire left when I'm done with this ride. Look at that power. It's bunny hopping down the road. I'm addicted to this. Thanks a lot, Wired. Thanks a lot. You just ruined every other e-bike for me. Nothing's ever gonna have this much power. Jeez. With all my adrenaline officially depleted, there was one last thing to test, and that is, could you actually drive this bike day to day? Okay, time to answer one last question here. Can you actually ride this thing in a calm way? Not that you're ever gonna want to. But I want to see if I can navigate this neighborhood in all-wheel drive, you know, full power, and do so in a non-wheel spinning, non-chaotic way. And I mentioned before, the throttle's pretty easy to modulate. So, I mean, what happens if I try to do like a U-turn using the throttle? Normally I tell people don't ever hit the throttle in a turn. So can we do it in all-wheel drive? There we go, we're getting 200 watts. All-wheel drive U-turn. That's how they did a great job, honestly, on the throttle response, because you can really, if you have a good throttle hand like that, I'm at 250 watts. And if I turn it a little more, okay, now I'm at 250 again, 320. I mean, you can really ease into it. Like, look how gradual I can ease into it. And I'm in all-wheel drive, full power. I mean, if you hit it, you're gonna go like crazy. But you can actually drive this thing. Let's do another U-turn right here. Look at that. No wheel spin, very easy to drive. Impressive. I mean, you can always just back it to rear wheel drive, and that's really gonna calm this bike down. That's, you know, you're taking the power away from the front. Like even if you pin the throttle in rear wheel, I mean, compared to another bike, it's going to be strong, but compared to the all-wheel on this is, like, here's rear. It's still giving you 3,500 watts, and it pulls hard, but it's not the chaos of all-wheel drive. So that's number one. Just put it in rear-wheel drive. Or if you have a good throttle hand, you can leave it in all-wheel and let's do a smooth acceleration. There you go. Look at that. Nice and easy. I got the throttle twisted like a quarter of the way right now. Okay. So I guess you could have this bike as your daily driver. Just keep it in rear wheel and just be a nice strong bike. And then you flip up a switch. I mean, the switch is a great idea too. I don't like the ones where you got to hold the button to toggle. You got to long press it for like 2 seconds before it switches modes. This is instantaneous with the little 3-position switch. So that's a good idea. That was a good call, Wired. I like that a lot. It's really fast to switch between the modes. Right there at the ease of your thumb. I haven't even tried front wheel because I don't know why you need front wheel drive, honestly. You're just gonna end up melting that tire off. But I'm wondering if they could do a software update in here where the slow start would actually kind of cut back the power on the front. It seems to just delay the throttle when you do the slow start feature instead of like ramping the power. I think that'd be a better feature on this thing because there's just so much power. You've got to dial it back if you want a slow start. So I guess that would be my suggestion, because if you had that, you might even be able to keep this thing in all-wheel drive all the time and just drive it around, because it's the front wheel spinning it. You really gotta understand what you're working with here. This is like touching on 7,000 watts. Well, folks, the Predator is certainly a unique experience, and it is not a bike that I would recommend the average person buy. It's a bicycle with similar power specs to a Sur-Ron. It's a $3,500 front tire melting machine. It's an e-bike that'll allow you to brag to your friends about how quick your bike is and then actually back up the talk. It is an electric bicycle that eats other electric bicycles and robs them of their power until, like Highlander, there can be only one. Now, remember at the beginning of this video, I told you there was a limited amount of Predators. And that's because Wired has told me they've only made 100 of these bikes, and they're not sure if they're gonna make any more. Now, I know it takes a special breed of person to really appreciate what the Predator is all about. Maybe that's you, perhaps it's not. Or maybe you know someone that would just love this bike, or maybe just enjoy watching this video. So if you do, please share it. So I've got prototype number 1. Who's gonna get the other 99?